When you're choosing an attachment for your grinder, there's a lot to choose from anywhere from polishing and cutting, grinding, sanding, what have you. The things that you want to look for really all depend on what you're actually doing. So if you're taking mill scale off of hot roll steel, you probably want something like a flap disc that has a pretty low grit. One thing to remember about discs that attach to grinders is they work in the same manner as sandpaper does. The smaller the grit number, the larger the grain, and the more material it'll remove. The higher the grit number, the finer it gets. So, for example, we have two flap discs here. One is a 40 grit, and the other one's 120. Now, 120 grit flap disc is going to give you a lot nicer finish, a lot smoother, coming up to more of a finished look. Whereas the 40 grit flap disc, what this is going to do is this is really good for removing mill scale, cleaning up weld zones, or if you just want that extra gritty look on a piece of furniture or what have you. It's kind of an aesthetical decision. So that's something you would want to take into consideration. Now, if you're doing 1/4 inch chamfers on some heavier material, plate metal, you want to remove a lot of material very quickly. These are commonly referred to as a stone grinding discs. These are aluminum oxide discs. Usually they're backed with some kind of mesh like fiberglass, but these will remove a lot of material very quickly. The grit number for these usually are about 18 to 20, somewhere around there. So obviously they will remove a lot of material very quickly. Now, another thing to consider when you're doing polishing or taking out scratches, or if you want to remove rust or paint, these are polyacrylic discs. They're kind of a spongy mesh. These do a very good job at taking off rust, paint, getting scratches out, more kind of a preparation for paint or what have you. Now, also, these stainless steel cup brushes do a really good job. This is a straight bristle cup brush. This is a braided bristle cup brush. This takes off heavy material very quickly. So if you have to remove some paint or something, this is a way to go. Or if you're just doing a light surface prep, this is also good for a light surface prep on cold roll material, getting rid of grease, dust, dirt, debris, what have you. Just remember, the number one thing, don't get something that's too big for your grinder. You're just looking for trouble when you do that. You always want to make sure if you're using any of these discs, anything on this table, it has to match the grinder itself, the speed and the size of the grinder. Just be safe. Make sure you don't hurt yourself while you're grinding, and always wear the correct protective gear.